Cyberpunk in 2026. Now, some might say I'm late to the party, but I don't think I am. I first tried this game in 2021, and we all know how that went, so I don't need to rehash that. I tried again in 2023. I still had issues with it, though not as bad, but enough to make me lose patience. Fast forward to 2026, and I had an emergency appendectomy, so I was pretty immobile when I returned home. I wanted something new to pass the time, and I was pretty burned out on Red Dead 2. Part of that came from watching Roger Clark stream the game and realizing he's a giant douchebag. But anyways, I had recently watched movies like Ghost in a Shell and Blade Runner, so Cyberpunk was on my mind. I read some reviews. The general consensus was it's much improved and a major comeback. Decided to give it a shot, and I gotta say, I agree. It didn't take long to notice the performance had improved, which in turn made me want to put more time into it, and I got completely sucked in. Even though I had tried twice before and gotten past the Konpeki Plaza, I knew the tone and the story, but it was still all very new to me because I'd never really dove in and did a full playthrough. If any of you were like me and lost patience with it, I can confidently say it's worth another shot. Although I do still run into the occasional glitch, nothing that interferes with the gameplay. I also snagged up the Phantom Liberty DLC, but more on that later. I'm sure most of you know the basis of the story, but for those that don't, or don't remember, here's a quick recap. There's a heist to get an artifact called the Relic from a big corporation named Arasaka that contains the engram of Johnny Silverhand, played by Keanu Reeves. The heist goes south when Yorinobu Arasaka kills his father, Saburo Arasaka, and security goes red alert. Then during the escape, the container holding the artifact gets damaged, so to prevent compromising the relic, your best friend Jackie inserts it into his head, and poor Jackie doesn't make it, so you end up inserting the relic into your own head. R.I.P. Jackie. The fixer that orchestrated the heist ends up selling you out, puts a bullet in your head, which unleashes Johnny, and that ends up saving your life. And even though all of this beginning stuff was not new to me, I still became fully immersed. The scenes are done very well, visually they are pleasing, and the actors do a solid job. An example of how good they execute this is Jackie. He is barely in the game, but you already feel like he is a true best friend. Two other early side characters I felt drawn to are Victor, the Ripper Doc, and Jackie's girlfriend Misty, who works at a shop near the Ripper Doc. I really liked Victor because he reminded me of a coworker in some blue-collar job that's been doing it for 20 years. The type of guy that will put in a 14-hour shift because his kid needs braces, but also helps the new guy while sharing wisdom along the way. Misty reminded me of a woman that if you bump into during a lunch break, or maybe she's on a smoke break, you're having a bad day, you vent to her a little bit, and she genuinely listens and genuinely tries to ease your stress. So right off the bat, I was invested in the story because the characters are drawing me in. As for Johnny Silverhands, let's be honest, Keanu's acting is very Keanu.
The fuck kind of joy toy are you supposed to be? Now like that! Stick some iron in your mouth and pull the trigger!
But the fact it's Keanu Reeves playing a foul-mouthed, rebellious, fuck-the-system rock star adds a major cool factor. In my previous attempts to play, I did free roam a bit, I dabbled in some missions, but never got a real feel for the game because of performance issues, and I just gave up on it. This go around, I was willing to put more time into it since I wasn't having any problems, and I was fully on board. I love when a game rewards grinding. I hate level caps though. But if you're a loot goblin like me, then you'll enjoy feasting. I definitely felt like my time spent running around exploring was rewarded. I was able to level up, gather materials for upgrades, and it's really easy to make money, so purchasing everything from cyberware to houses and vehicles all felt attainable and gave me incentive to keep doing what I was doing, on top of it being fun, of course. Combat is a little clunky. It improves when you upgrade your cyberware. I've seen videos of experienced players with max builds doing really cool shit, to be fair. I haven't reached that skill level yet. I didn't really dive into the builds either. One thing that drove me nuts though, the entire time was the auto mission select feature. I kept having to reselect my preferred mission because after each phone call or text I read, it would change my map marker. I know I can just ignore the text because there's no timetable on reading or responding, so it is a bit of a curiosity killed the cat thing, but I still find it to be a very obnoxious feature. If there's a way to change that, please let me know because I couldn't find anything in the settings. And even though I don't like how the calls and texts move the map marker, I do like that there's so much going on and it gives you so many missions to play. I didn't even mind running around the city on foot, just taking it all in. Visually, the city has you in awe with all the buildings, the lights, and how active it all is. Though I will say that after 25 hours or so, the novelty of the city starts to wear off. I understand you can't make all the buildings accessible because that would require so much work, and it also isn't necessary. Let's zoom in a bit. It's cool that you can walk into a club, have a drink, and dance, but that's it. Everything looks great, but there isn't really anything to it. It would be neat if you could flirt and either get rejected or be successful and get laid. I know there's a joy toy for that. That is just one location in this massive city. It's not even about getting laid. It's about what's presented compared to what is actually there. So altogether, when you realize how limited you are in the city for both the buildings and the social aspect, the novelty starts to wear off. That's not even a big knock on the game. Because like I said, it was about 25 hours in, and a lot of games only take like 30 hours to complete. This game still has tons of hours worth of entertainment, and I was still very much under its spell. I was drawn to Night City. I kept wanting to hop on the game, cruise my motorcycle, hunt down gangs, do gigs, stop assaults in progress, fight cyber psychos. I was completely immersed. And I can't talk about immersion without talking about the DLC, Phantom Liberty. For those that don't know, I'll do a quick summary of the basis. You get a random call from a highly skilled netrunner that goes by Songbird.
Know your situation, your problem, and I can save your life.
And tells you to meet her at a certain area. She's just an engram like Johnny when you meet up, which further displays her skill set. She's on an airplane with the president and it's been hacked, so it's going down. She guides you into a new area called Dogtown for a rescue mission of the president. You end up seeing the plane get shot down, which adds a great atmosphere of tension right off the bat. Then you make your way to the plane, fight off some baddies, rescue the president, and make your escape. And just like that, you're involved in a deep state plot to take out the president. The president enlists you to find Solomon Reed, a covert operator played by Idris Elba. I've been a fan of Idris Elba since The Wire, so admittedly with some bias, I enjoyed his addition. But I enjoyed everything about this DLC. The story, the setting, the performances were all executed very well. I got lost in the plot of this covert world and felt like I was within the situation. Characters will lore dump on you and you gotta decide who to trust and which route to take. And this DLC also introduces a new fixer that goes by Mr. Hands. He plays a role in the story, but also his gigs are really good. I think he's probably my favorite fixer now. There are a handful of different endings, which helps the replayability, gives you something to strive towards if you want to go at it again. With this DLC, you can start a new game from the beginning of Phantom Liberty, which is down the road a ways in the main story. So ultimately you skip a lot of things and it auto designates your attribute points. I don't know everything specifically that it skips because when I tried, it felt scattered to me and I didn't follow through with it. I think there should be a New Game Plus feature where you can start right after Konpeki Plaza. A big part of why I feel that way is because out of ignorance, I did 3 playthroughs in a row for each career path. There were small differences, mostly just in dialogue though, in which I'm going corpo every time now.
Think you can stand there and bark orders at me? Fuck the fuck off.
Please make your way to the exit.
But even if I didn't do 3 in a row, the beginning of the game has that tutorial drag to it, so I'd rather be able to just skip my start point to after Konpeki Plaza. And yes, I know I can just have a saved game slot there, but that doesn't change my preferences. Even though the beginning of the game felt like a chore to get through on the back-to-back playthroughs, the story never felt that way. Besides the previously mentioned well-executed scenes and awesome performances, you can spice things up each time by choosing different options on how you want to handle each situation. And I don't think that overall the multiple choices throughout the main part of the game affect things as much as they did in The Witcher, but they still did a solid job of making it feel fresh when choosing differently. I have done all the endings at this point, both DLC and main game. I've been avoiding spoilers or going deep into story because I just wanted to share my overall thoughts on this game. I'm going to be a tad spoilery. Just a bit, not much. Something I didn't like about Red Dead 2 after many playthroughs is with multiple choice aspect is I was just deciding how I want to die, and for me it always made me just stay in the middle of the game. I'm not saying that's the case with this game, but that every ending is just as depressing as the other. There are endings that are happier in a way, but still have sadness attached. I'll give one example. Spoiler alert. The ending with Pan Am, sure you're with your woman and that's great, but you only have 6 months to live. Is it happier? Sure. Still depressing. I understand it's a game about consequences, and it's not a huge deal, but for me, knowing that no matter what I do, I'm always going to have a bad result, it does wear on me. I noticed that with some missions as well, that no matter which choice I made, it was going to have a negative result. That doesn't hurt my opinion on the game as for whether I enjoyed my experience. Actually, want to know what bothered me more? And this is about getting laid in the game. The amount of cock teasing. Hear me out. I already talked about the clubs and the joy toys. Even with all the NPC women walking around in very revealing outfits, other than the social aspect not delivering, I don't really care about the sex stuff. But as far as character interactions go, early in the game, you help Meredith and you get laid. You help Pan Am and you get laid. So that sets a tone. But every other interaction for the rest of the game is just helping a chick out. She flirts, nothing happens. I know Judy is a lesbian, so you can get her if you play the female V. She's still very flirtatious with male V though.
Isolate specific sensations.
But okay, fine, lesbian, whatever. There's a sister of a detective you help and involves flirtatious dialogue.
Looking good, Joss.
Really think so?
V, are you seeing someone?
But you do have the option to bang the detective. But I'll give a solid example. There's a new character in the DLC, invites you to have drinks at the bar she owns. It's just the two of you. You have an emotionally connecting conversation. She's leaning over the bar, highlighting her butt in your line of sight, hitting you with eye contact and smiles. Then she hears a song on the jukebox and walks over to it, starts swaying that ass back and forth. Then it gives you the option to walk over and dance with her. So of course that's the next move. Dance ends, she walks away and says some shit like, "I'll see you on the mission." Like, what the fuck? But alright, not a super big deal. I know, calm down, Incel Gooner. I get it. But honestly, I don't like how a tone was set for role-playing and then the aspect was only teased afterwards. Whether it's sex or secret ninja assassin missions. I just don't like the rug pull. But back to being more serious. Honestly, the thing that annoyed me the most about this game is you cannot finish Smasher. I think it's ridiculous that they didn't add some kind of animation for you to take out the big bad. Another great example of how you get sucked in is there's two concerts. One, you play as Johnny Silverhand within V, and that was actually a pretty awesome experience. And another one's in a DLC when you infiltrate a party of elite criminals. There's a pop star that's putting on a performance. Now, normally it's a song I wouldn't care about at all, but they do such a great job that I actually ended up liking the song because I was so invested in the moment. If you are somebody that heard about all the problems in the first few years of the game, or you were like me and tried it but lost patience because of the issues, I would say you're not late to the party. I think this game has matured and is primed for fun. I would never tell people how to spend their money, so I won't recommend buying it if you don't have it, or buying the DLC if this game is just chilling in your library. I will say I am a harsh critic, and I'm usually a glass half empty kind of guy when it comes to reviews, but I truly enjoyed the time I spent with this game. I believe it's worth a shot, or at least worth considering. Those are my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and thanks for stopping by.
On behalf of the staff of the Independent California Motel, I wish you all sweet dreams.